everyone, I have got a new page to work through with you in this next series, which will be 4 videos, one for each of these pictures. This is from Rooms of Wonder by Johanna Basford, and what I've done is I've picked my next 4 colour cube cards. I'm just working through the box in order on various projects and various books. And so 103, 104, 105 and 106 were the next 4. But what I've done is I've ordered them like this. Just taken a bit of time to look at the pictures and which card goes with which, because I was aware that this one is very leafy, so I wanted one with greens, which this one had. This one has no leaves, so it didn't matter so much. This one's got a little bit of leaf, so there's a green in there. This one's just blues and greys, so I thought that would work here with this one. So that just sort of left that one with that. I think I'd matched them up as well as I could. And we're going to do this one, we're just going to work through them. So this card today, so this is 103. So if we look carefully, I'm just going to move those aside for now and come in a little closer. I've chosen my Polychromos pencils because I had a quick look at the cards and thought that that would work. So I'll just go through with you what I picked. So for the charcoal, I picked the black, the Payne's grey and the cold grey 6, and then for the grey I picked the cold grey 3, 4 and 5. So we've got a lot of greys there. Now the mint was a little trickier, but I decided in the end to go for the phthalo, so the light phthalo, dark phthalo and phthalo greens. Teal also a little bit tricky, but I decided to go for the deep cobalt green and the pine green. And then for the puce, again, we don't have that sort of, I went for the light magenta and the light red violet. So for some of them I've only got 2, some of them I've got 3. I may not use all of the pencils I've picked, but as usual I will tell you what I'm using as I use them, so you should be able to follow along, I hope. So let's come in closely. I'm afraid it's a bit dim again because the blind is shut. Move my light a bit closer, it doesn't actually make a big deal of difference. So I could just put the card there, so I think it'll get on my nerves if I do that. I'll keep knocking it. I'll put it there because then it'll be away from my hand, just to remind you, and we'll make a start. So we've got our I'm thinking, where are we going to go with the hat? That's where I'm going to start. Now I could do it grey. And then brighten it with the feathers and things. I think that's what I'll do. I might do that tin, like it's a tin can, so it's a sort of silver. So I think I'll do the hat darker. So I might just go for my Payne's grey first. I think we'll start there. So here's the Payne's grey. Sorry, it doesn't show up very well in this lamp. And I'll just start. Now we've got a little brim on the hat, which looks like I might match it in with the ribbon and not colour that in yet. So I'll just I'm going to start on the edge and just get going really. So these are all sort of hobby type items on this page. So this is obviously sort of a hat maker or milliner, which is something that, yeah, it's quite a rare hobby that, isn't it? We do have someone in our town that makes hats and fascinators and sells them in, we've got a shop which sells locally produced items. So a lot of cards and arty things, and then crafts and soaps and foodstuffs as well, you know, wine and nut butters and preserves and all sorts of things. But there are these fascinators which look rather grand. I don't do hats really. I've started to wear one in the summer when it's really chilly, hot. What am I saying? And it's really hot like today. I wore a hat when we went out to town, but I don't really wear them for occasions. I did once for a really smart wedding that I went to, and I I didn't really want to, and I wasn't going to, and then when I bought my dress, the shop just said, well, we've got a hat to go with it, and so they sort of sold me a hat, and I wore it, and then I didn't know anything about the etiquette of wearing a hat. It was rather posh wedding, and we sort of went into the marquee for the meal, and all the ladies took their hats off and put them at the side of the room, and I had no idea that was perhaps should have been a bit lighter. Never mind. I had no idea that was what you did, so I had to then get up and do it because I had to copy everybody else, and it was all a bit awkward. And then I knew my hair would look absolutely awful. I didn't think that I would have to take it off. You know, my hair doesn't like hats. Ooh. But I felt I had to take it off because everybody did. Do you know what I mean? So no, I don't really know about hat etiquette, but I've got a big floppy summer hat now. Just so I'm getting older, I think I really need to make sure I look after my skin. So I do that, but I don't ever take it off. Oh, I think this is a bit of our hat in here too, isn't it? No, I obviously take it off when I get home, and then my hair looks flat and weird and frizzy. Flat and frizzy? Yeah. Yeah, my hair is mad for the rest of the day. Okay. So I may go back over that hat a little bit, but I might just leave it like that. We'll see how it all goes. Okay, I'm going to do the tin next here. I think that's like a can that's had the wrapper taken off. I'm sure it probably isn't, but that's how I'm going to colour it. Why not? So I'm going to use the very darkest grey, which I've got, which is the cold grey 6, just a little bit to start with on the very edge. And actually on the inside, because it'd be dark inside the tin, wouldn't it? Like that, a little bit in there. Oh, our front door, my husband's here, we'll be able to get it. I think we had a parcel delivered yesterday for a neighbour who was out, so I suspect she's collecting it. So that's all fine, I'll be able to tell. When I hear him open the door. Right, let's put those pencils that I've used over there. Okay, so I'm going to grab, whoops, I can't pick it up. Here we go. The cold grey 5. And then go over the edge a little bit where I've done already. And then just extend the colour a bit. I want to go a bit lighter than this, so I'm going to not put too much of this down. Like that. And then we'll go for the cold grey 4. I think that's probably light enough. I want to do this brim bit now. I purposely kept it a bit lighter because it's sort of sticking out a bit more, and I think it would be lighter. And the same with the bit at the bottom here. And then we'll just bring this in. I want to leave a bit of a shine line in the middle, but not too much. Just a bit of shine. That's it. Now I'm going to darken some bits up a little bit more on that. Not too dark, but we'll go with our cold grey 6 again. I'm going to put some shadow in under this, under here. And in there, and then a little bit right on the edge again, just a bit more. It creates more of a contrast, like that. And then I'm thinking about these lines. I want to put a bit of shadow under each one. But what I'm going to try and do is make it darker on the edge than in the middle to work with the shine. I don't know if I can really pull that off, but whoops, I'm making a right wobbly mess, aren't I? But we'll try. Do it a bit slower than me and it'll look better. There we go. Now, I'm just noticing we've got a pair of scissors here which would be silvery. I'm going to do those a bit lighter though. I'm going to use the cold grey 4. And just put a little bit in, try and leave a bit of white paper. There we go. Okay, that's me for a minute on those items. I'm going to come back to the hat now and think about the hat. Actually, I think I'm going to do my greens next because we have some green leaves. And if I can do those first, it will help me think about the rest. I'm thinking maybe use the darkest green, the dark phthalo green for the leaves. and then it leaves me the lights perhaps to do the feathers. That's my thinking. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to make them quite dark here and then just make them lighter towards the tip. I'm not going to do anything more with them, just nothing too fancy. Like that. Now we'll just work round and find all the leaves. I'm going to try and sort of match it up so all the flowers are the same colour, all the feathers are the same colour, that sort of thing. I think it will keep it all matching, and we've only got a limited colour palette anyway, so can't do anything too fancy. Now these peacock feathers are going to cause us a bit of problem because we haven't got the right colours. We're just going to have to do something a bit different. Now I'm thinking about this hat band and the feathers and flowers and things. I want my flowers to be pink, so I'm going to do those first. Let's do the centre in a light red violet, so the darker pink for the centres. As I said before, they're all going to be the same. The jars I'll leave till last because they don't really matter what colour they are. What I would do is I'll try and sort of balance it by using colours that maybe I haven't used quite so much. So I'm going to use the pink for the petals, a bit darker in the middle and lighter towards the tips. Like that. And the same here, a little bit darker around here. Lighter out here. It's quite small, so it's a little bit tricky to get that contrast in there. If you want to just do plain colouring, why not? They'll just look more vibrant. Where there's petals, I'm doing each one separately. So I went for a nice walk this morning with husband. We went into town, had a coffee and came back. I had to post some letters as well, so we did that in the post office. We could have done that locally, there is a post box near us, but we just decided to use it as an excuse to have a bit of a longer walk. Also they're collected more quickly from the post office. Not today, it's a Sunday when I'm recording this, but they'll go first thing in the morning, I suspect. Right, so there's a bit of pink. I want a bit more pink than that, but I'm going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to do my feathers next, and I've decided my base colour for my feathers is going to be, we're not very central are we, this light phthalo green. Okay, so I'm going to do all of the feathers with this. Now these have got bits like that. I'm going to colour over those bits to start with, and then I might add another colour. So I'm going to put a dark colour either end of our central bit, and a dark here. Someone told me that was called the quill. I always thought the quill was like the whole thing, but it could very well be. They're probably right. I always just think a quill is a feather that's been carved to be used as a pen. But yeah, as I say, I could be very wrong. So I've left this white shine. I think it just makes it look like it's slightly oily, because I think feathers are. These little bits are too small. I'm actually just going to fill them in. Could try and leave some shine on those, but I'm not going to worry. Now my hat is actually not completely coloured. I haven't done a very good job of it, but I'm just going to do all the feathers, see where we're at, and then I can put a bit more colour onto the hat in a bit. A black hat's quite unusual, I think, for this sort of thing. You know, it's like a lady's smart hat, but it's sort of supposed to be grey really, but I don't think it's, I think it will work. I think it will show off the feathers. See, we've got a feather down here, and I'm thinking this bit where I haven't coloured, because I thought it would be like fluffy feathery bits. But there's a bit under there, I think that's be the hat band. And the same here, we've got a bit here and here. But yeah, it's not very neat. I will go back through that in a bit and recolour. Now I think I'll leave that bit uncoloured and I'll use probably the dark phthalo green or something on. No, maybe the mid one. We've used the dark on that. I'll have a think. Now I'm going to sharpen this actually and just do all the really fine bits while we've got a nice sharp point. I'm sure it won't help me not go out the lines, but it might help a little bit. So while we were out for our walk, we were looking at the, there's open artist studios for the next couple of weekends, not this weekend, but the next two my husband wants to go to. So we were finding where the different venues were. I think I'm just going to solidly colour that because I think it's going to look odd if I try and leave a shiny bit. So we were finding they had these posters on their windows and doors. So he was sort of planning where he's going to go. It's interesting because he finds it quite inspiring going to see other artists, whereas I prefer to actually just get on and do art. But that's fine. He doesn't mind going on his own. Sometimes one of my boys used to go with him, but they can't revising, and I think they've sort of grown out of it a bit anyway. But I think they find it dull because Dad talks to everyone and spends too long. But anyway, so I've done that. I think that works on that one, but these not so much. So I'm going to solidly fill that one in. Just seeing if I've done it all. I think so. But what I'm going to do is the central parts. I usually do those in a grey. What have we got left? No, I need that light grey. I used one I've used before. I used the Cold Grey 4. Cold Grey 4. And what I tend to do is fade it towards the centre so it looks a little shiny. But some of these are a bit small, so I might just fit it in. This one's a bit longer. There we go. And now we'll do this, the rest of the feathers in the phthalo green. These parts. As I say, they're probably supposed to be peacock feathers, and that would mean they would have some sort of black and gold and things, but I'm just gonna keep them like that. Now I'm thinking this ribbon might be the same colour as the ribbon on the hat. But I've got to decide what colour to do it. Basically, I've got a really dark green, which I think might work. Actually, let's use the deep cobalt green. I think that might look quite nice as a silky ribbon. We'll do the bit on the hat first. So as the hat, in the same way as the hat, I'm going to make it really dark there and then lighter as we come round, because that will help to give us some shape to our hat. That bit I cut at grey, but it should be that colour. I think I can do that. Wondering about this bit. I think I might just do it in pink. I don't know. I'm going to do the brim bit in the same colour because I feel that might be sort of a silky edging, you know, that you could do with the ribbon. I think that would be shinier on the top. A bit there. And then we've got our ribbon, which we'll do as well. Now this again is a rounded item, so it's going to be, I think, darker here and then lighter towards the centre. We can leave a little bit of white to really make it look shiny, satiny or silky. Now this bit, I think I'm going to make a shiny bit in each little section, like that. The same here. You see, I'm just colouring over a bit more here, and then less layers as we go. It just feels really hot today. My son said it was going to be the hottest day of the year so far, but I've had a couple of cold drinks now. I had iced coffee when I was out, when we went to the coffee shop, and oops, that's my chair hitting something. And then I had I think I want to use the pink. I'm going to take the darker one, sharpen it, and use it for the this is the light red violet, and I'm going to use it for these bits. I'm not going to press too hard. I want it to look a little bit paler than it does in the flower centres. I just think it sort of balances it somehow. These are a bit dark, so I coloured over them by mistake with black, the Payne's grey. And I want my thread to all be this colour too. And I'm going to do it in a similar way to the ribbon by fading it towards the middle. And it helps to make our reels, cotton reels, look all rounded. Maybe they wouldn't all be the same colour. Why would you have three the same? But I think it just adds some balance into our picture. Now I'm going to keep this colour and do one of our pencils this colour, I think. Now pencils, I tend to colour dark on the edge like that, and a bit less towards the middle like that, so we've got a bit of a shine. Now we don't have a pencil wood colour, so I'm thinking maybe we're going to use our black and make them black pencils like Black Widows. Some pencils have black wood, so that's what I'm going to do. Oh, there we go. Now what I should have done with my light red violet is to have done the lead bit as well. There we go. Now I'm going to grab, I think I'd choose the scissors colour next. Let's do this one, the pine green. We haven't used it yet for our scissors. Now scissors, I tend to go light like that to start with. Then I want to make the handles look a bit more rounded, so I put a darker bit around here and around the edge, and then I look and see whether that's worked. I'll do it for the other one as well. I'm concentrating, my tongue was coming out then. Dark a bit in there. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, so that's our pine. Now we need the other pencils. I think next to this, I'm going to use the light phthalo green for this end pencil. Oh, magpies are shouting. There's often a bit of a bird fight going on in the tree out the window there. Okay, now maybe a light pink in this one. So the light magenta, I need to sharpen that. Okay. Cool, that's a loud magpie. Ooh, the magpies don't even have the nest. I think it's the pigeons that have the nest. There's a lot of racket. Okay, and then our last one, I think we're doing a darker green. We'll go to the phthalo green, I think. Could have done a grey, but I think it's nice to have a bit of colour. go. Now the ruler I'm thinking might be a sort of grey, so I'm grabbing my lightest grey, which is the cold grey 3. I'm going to just sort of colour it a grey, because that's rulers tend to be see-through, but I'm thinking maybe it'd just be grey, and that bit might be a bit darker because it sort of sticks in a bit. Actually, I think that might be the bottom of the pencil, not the bit of the ruler. Never mind, I did it wrong. Oh, hey ho. Now I'm thinking the cotton reels, these would probably be white, but I'm not doing a background. Oh, just noticed that I've missed that bit of that feather out. I'll use my phthalo green. Just pop that in. So, I don't think I want to use this really light grey. I might use a slightly darker grey. This is the cold grey 4. So I'm going to use that for the cotton reels. Now I'm going to use the same technique for these as I did for the this bit. So leave it lighter in the middle, a bit even paler on the top. I don't want to leave any white because it'll look like I'm trying to make it silver. It's not silver, it's a plastic. I mean, or wood. Of course, used to get wooden cotton reels back in the day, which were nice. But these days this would all be plastic, wouldn't it? I'm going to make this quite light on the top because I'm going to make it a little darker in there because we're looking down into a shadowy bit in the centre. Now we've got our jars. We're going to do the contents of the jars first. I'm thinking maybe this one in the front could have light pink items in it. So I'm going to use the light magenta. We haven't used it a lot. It's quite pretty. I guess these are supposed to be like buttons, maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do them all the same. They're going to end up looking like little sugared almonds. There we go. And then these I'm going to do in a green. Which green shall I use? Maybe this one. Where is it gone? The pine green, which we used for the scissors, it's actually a bit of a different green. So we might use that here, or else it's going to look a bit odd because I didn't really choose a good green, but I think if we use it a few times, hopefully it'll work and tie in. And then we've got to think about the lids of the jars. I'm wondering, colour wise, what to do. I'm thinking, should I do a pink lid on the jar of green things and a green lid on the jar of pink things, or would that drive people a bit batty? I think I am going to do that and drive people batty. So this one I'm going to do in the light phthalo green, the lid. It's a much newer pencil. The writing is in lowercase, whereas my older pencils, the writing's in capitals on the pencil. And then this lid I'm going to do in the light red violet. I'm going to press quite hard here, or put down quite a lot of colour so it looks different to the cotton reels. There we go. Then I'm going to use my very lightest grey, which is cold grey 3, to do the jars. So I'm thinking, it's got some dots here, so I might start those dots like that, leaving a white edge, and then just take it in like that. Make it, hopefully it looks a bit glassy. And leave a space at the bottom for shine, like that. And with here, with the little marks are here, so maybe we'll take our grey sort of down like that. I'm just using Johanna's lines as a bit of a guide, really. Okay, now our hat needs a bit more work, I'm thinking. Let's grab my Payne's Grey, which is I think where I started the hat. Here we go. Right, so this edge to be darker. Like that, and I need to just go along the ribbon to make sure I've put enough in. Here there's a few gaps where I wasn't sure what colour it was, and I'm thinking there'll be quite a bit of shadow under that ribbon, so let's just put that in, make this a bit darker, and then it stands out more from the can. Under here I think would be quite shadowy, but just light on that turn-uppy bit. My stomach is growling, it's lunchtime. Okay, go and have some lunch when I finish this bit. And a bit darker in there. Now just make it a bit darker on this side, a bit easier to see what's going on now I've coloured in some of the bits and bobs. Maybe a little bit darker in the centre at the top, be dipped in there, might be a bit of shadow. There we go. I think I'm just going to do a few white touches and then I'll be done. I'm going to use my jelly roll pen. I'm just trying to find the right size. I want to use number 8. Here it is. Jelly roll 8. So I'm going to put a bit of shine on the edge of my tin can. Maybe on the scissors, pencil, just a few odd areas. I'm going to put some dots on my flowers just to make them look prettier. We need a bit of shine on our jars. Some more dots on these flowers. Try not to drag your hand across the white pen, which I'm being very careful, but I think that's probably enough. So let's move our colour cube card back into shop so you can see. There it is. So there is our first one. Yeah, we'll be moving through all of them. I'm not quite sure on the days this will be going out. I have a feeling they might just be consecutive afternoons, but it just depends on how it all works out with other videos. But I'm done with that one, so thank you for watching. I hope that was okay, and hopefully it gave you a few ideas. Yeah, next time we'll be doing the next one across, I think, or maybe down, I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. But thank you for watching, hope you have a super day and happy colouring.